2. Hello, friends from 5 Reasons. We are back here with more Miami Heat content for all of you guys. I have Ethan Skolnick with me today. We're going to be talking about Heat Media Day. How was it, Ethan? We're back. We're back in the game, and we're finally back to actually talking to players and to Spoelstra a little bit closer. So talk to us a little bit about the experience of being back there in the arena, FTX Arena now, not American Airlines anymore. And how was it different from previous media days that you've experienced? This was your what, 20? So how many years have you been doing
I mean, this is
more
my
than 20. More than 20.
Yeah, this is my 26th season. My first season was 1996. I haven't done 26 media days. I've probably done maybe 15. I would say maybe 15 or 16. I will say that this one was kind of in the middle in terms of presentation. I mean, I'll get obviously to what the players said and the mood, but. Yeah. It wasn't as crazy as Media Day used to be. They limited it quite a bit. It was downstairs in the interview room. We haven't been in that room in more than a year. Right. It was downstairs in the interview room, but they only allowed 6 of us in, actually. There were a couple of representatives, 3 representatives from the Herald, 1 from the Sentinel, me, and Tim Reynolds from AP.
So we're special, guys.
I guess, and that's pretty much it. And then they led us up to where the player, after Spoelstra and Butler, Lowry, and also Bam spoke. They led us up to the practice court, which I haven't been in a while, and they had some tables there, and obviously they had like the TV the TV areas where the players would go around to, and they started bringing the players up at around 11:30, but it wasn't nearly as crowded as it's typically been. I mean, Alex Toledo was there for me, for us, with me. And there was someone from every outlet, but usually media day. I mean, you go back to Big 3 media day, they had to hold it. For the first one all the way down at UM in the Hex Center, and then they moved it, and there were like 300 people before they went to training camp at a military base. This was really nothing, but it was more than last year. I mean, we didn't have anything last year, so things are slowly kind of getting back to normal. They're not going to get there this season. My biggest takeaway from this, though, is every media day has a tone. Like, you go to a media day, and there are some media days, and I was saying this to Alex Toledo on 5 on the Floor, which we posted this afternoon. There are some media days, like, you kind of know how good a team is, like how many players you're waiting for. Like when during the Big 3 era, it's like, okay, we're waiting on LeBron, we're waiting on Bosh, we're waiting on Wade, we're waiting on Shane Battier and Mike Miller and future Hall of Famer Ray Allen, and on down the line, like Udonis Haslem, like in his prime, recognizable names. There are some years you're not really waiting on anybody. I mean, the years that Josh Richardson was their best player, it's like, okay, let's make a big deal out of Jay
Kendrick
Ricks.
Nunn. Do you remember a couple of years ago? No, it wasn't Kendrick Nunn. It was Dion Waiters. We were waiting to see if we could see him or not, and we didn't see him.
That was that very frustrating experience. You were there with me, and it's like, why did we even wait? This year, it's a little more, right? I mean, they had 3 guys to put in the interview room, Jimmy, Kyle, and Bam, who are legitimate stars in this league. And so and then when we went upstairs, it's like, okay, when do we get Hero? When do we get Robinson? Legitimate players in the league. And then when does Oladipo come? And actually, Vic was the last group interview with a small group of us. I posted a ton of content on 5 Reasons Sports Twitter already, and probably given people a meme with a couple of the photos, which is what he was doing the whole time. He had his hands all over the place.
It's a thumbnail of this video. I just saw it, and I put it.
There you go. Okay, and it was the best photo I've ever taken, other than one of my daughter. And so but you're waiting on Victor Oladipo, former All-Star. And so I think it gives you a sense. And then role players like P.J. Tucker and Markieff Morris who've accomplished something in the league. So it was more than the down years. It's not the Big 3, but it was positive. And here's the biggest thing, Alejandro. It was upbeat. And some media days, you try to be upbeat, but you know that you're kind of faking it. Usually with Eric Spoelstra, you can tell. 2 years ago, when he sat with us at the table, after they'd unloaded Hassan Whiteside and picked up Jimmy Butler, it was like a truck was taken off his shoulders. He was so happy, loose and happy. He was like that again today. And I don't think it's because he didn't like the team last year. It's because, as Duncan Robinson said...
Well, I think nobody liked it, Ethan.
Nobody liked the season. Nobody liked the season. Nobody liked the fact that they were squeezing in another season that didn't feel like it meant anything. And
it didn't feel right. It
didn't feel right. So, I mean, remember, the finals that the Heat played in were not even a year removed from them finishing.
Right.
They've already played a whole nother season
Mm-hmm.
in that time, and they've come back. So I think that there's a refreshed attitude about the team. They added pieces he likes. You can see the Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler dynamic. If you go to 5 Reasons Instagram, I posted some of that. Jimmy hiding under the table
Yeah,
so that
it's
he could
here
put
too.
big
It's
face
here
coffee.
on the
It's
YouTube
here on
channel
the
as well.
YouTube channel. So I think that there's a vibe to this team that is more positive. It doesn't necessarily mean it's wins,
Mm-hmm.
but I think they have a chance to put something together this year. There have been Heat seasons, not a lot of them under Riley, but there have been Heat seasons where you really didn't feel like that. Today you did.
Right. So let's go to the highlights right away. What do you take from what Spolstra said? He talked about a little bit over 25 minutes. It's
Yeah.
here, also here in the channel. If you guys want to watch it after this, you can go ahead and it's there. But what would you take from it? Because I saw you tweeting, but you always take like 3 or 4 quotes where you're like, okay,
Yeah.
it was about this.
Yeah, because I do. And some of them I don't post because I know Eric speak at this point or supposed to speak. And so some of the stuff I'm not going to. But you can tell the certain things he harps on. It's clear he had or someone had listened to 5 on the Floor because he kind of repeated.
We know they do. We know
well,
they do.
I know certain executives do. Eric would not admit it, but I do know for sure 1,000% because they talk to me about stuff we say.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been a theme that I've been hammering on 5 on the Floor about the way that this roster was constructed. And Spoelstra basically laid it out today, which was that it's experienced winning type players, guys who've been in the finals at the top, older. They're going to have to nurse those guys. Mm-hmm. They like to go 5-5-5 on the roster in terms of these groups. I don't know that they're quite at 5-5-5. It's a little bit of a stretch, but then there's kind of guys in their prime or entering their prime. So you've got Bam there, you've got Duncan there. That's kind of the second group. I don't know that you have 5, but at least those 2. And then you have guys who've come through their developmental program on cheaper contracts who are guys that, as Eric said, maybe the league doesn't know about yet, but we do. Now, in past years, we can go through hundreds of these names, the Rodney McGruders, the Duncan Robinsons, the Kendrick Nunns, the Udonis Haslams, the Malik Allens, the Mike Jameses, the Anthony Carters, the Bruce Bowens. They've picked these guys up through the years, right? They have a couple that they like this year. Max Strus, for sure. I think they view him as a rotation player. Omer Yurtseven, who is a very confident guy. I got a chance to talk to him for the first time today. And Gabe Vincent. I think they have 3, maybe even Marcus Garrett, that can give them something this year and help balance out the roster and take care of some of the depth concerns that we have spoken about. So that was his message. But I think his biggest message was they got his kind of guys this offseason. And he kept talking about to contend, to win the whole thing, to win the important games. They're not thinking of this as a regular season proposition. Yes, they want to get as far up as they can, but I think Eric is going to rest some guys this year. They view this as a playoff team. This is a team that once you get to the playoffs, this is not a team you're going to want to play. You've got guys who played at the highest level. They don't back down. They're tough, and they kind of fit the Jimmy mindset, right? Whether it's Lowry or Morris or Tucker. And I think that's what he's happy about. I think last year at times he had to worry about guys drifting. And I don't blame them because, again, they had no break, okay? A lot of them are young, like the Tyler Heroes of the world, Kendrick Nunns of the world, and it was hard to focus. It was hard to get your legs. So those are not excuses. They're reasons. And I think 5 reasons. And I think that he views it now as he has the kind of team that will be mentally tough. Like he said, the other stuff will figure it out. They think they have enough talent. That's the question. I mean, they don't have Brooklyn talent, but also, are the 3 Brooklyn guys ever going to be healthy? Is Kyrie Irving ever going to, follow a rule? I mean, these are, and then you look at Milwaukee, they are playoff tested now, but they didn't really upgrade in the offseason. Philadelphia, dealing with the Ben Simmons situation. Atlanta, are they ready yet? Do they still need to consolidate some pieces? The Knicks, I think people view as a little bit of an overachieving team last year. So they think they're in this mix, and I think he thinks it. He was very upbeat. I think Jimmy seemed very relaxed.
Yeah, what about the players? What did you say about from Butler, Adebayo,
well, Jimmy didn't
also
talk
Lowry?
long. Jimmy didn't talk long because there were some technical difficulties. So we asked some questions, and then they went to the Zooms, and there was one question for Jimmy because it was kind of a cluster bleep. But he was. I will just take it from mood. When he went around and talked to the TV guys, he seems very relaxed. He talked about playing tennis this offseason, getting away from basketball and starting to miss it again. They didn't have a chance to miss basketball last offseason. They were right back in it. So I think Jimmy having that mindset. Bam, biggest takeaway from Bam today is that he's saying again that he gets it, okay? I need to be aggressive. I need to be assertive. I want to be a shooter. Are you going to take more than 1 3? Laughs. Yes. So I think the message has gotten through to him. Now, translating that to the court is another thing, but I do think, and I'll get to Lowry in a second, that is one of the major reasons Kyle Lowry is here. I think Jimmy got tired last year of pushing Bam. Now he has somebody else who has a resume, who is a champion, who can get in, who is an elite, he played for the national team, can get in Bam's face, okay, and say, shoot the bleeping ball, okay? And I think nobody...
Or be more aggressive and go to the rim.
That's basically it. Go to the rim. I mean, I don't think, Alejandro, anybody questions Bam's work ethic, his character, his no ceiling, whatever. I think with Bam, it is just mentality. And Kyle Lowry sat down today. This is who Kyle Lowry is. And I can tell you, I have never experienced this with a player who came here from another city. And I've been doing this thing since 1996. A lot of players have come through here, some of them twice, sometimes Michael Beasley 4 times. I have never seen a fan base so love another player still after he goes to another team. The love affair with Toronto and Kyle Lowry, they're all over our social media today, and it is all positive. They love this guy, okay? Mm-hmm. And you can tell why, okay? He's no bullshit, okay? He sat down, and I've interviewed him, for years. I'm not intimately, obviously, not up close because I was covering, the Heat Toronto series and asked him questions and spent time around him at All-Star games. But he sat down today. Good morning. No one answers. Good morning. Shit. Okay. And what people told me was with Kyle, it is a conversation. It's not an interview. He's interviewing you like you're interviewing him. He will tell you if it's a good question or if it's not a good question. He does not give a bleep anymore. And they need another guy like he is in the Jimmy mold. And even he said that today, Alejandro. He said the 2 other big stars he's played with, okay, DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry don't speak. I mean, DeMar does, but he's soft-spoken. He's a nice guy. One of my favorites. Nice guy. Kawhi, we know what Kawhi is. No. Jimmy is not Kawhi or DeMar, okay?
No.
And I think that actually, as close as he is with DeMar, it's his best friend in basketball, obviously, okay? And they had this relationship. As close as he became with Kawhi, they won a championship together. I think the Jimmy personality fits Kyle better. He's like him. And so I think that is a real positive. As far as the other players go, Tyler Hero, you can tell, has put in the work. He looks to me kind of the same up top, but his legs, the weight is there. And Alejandro, that is where they wanted it to be. And I can tell you, because there's been this misunderstanding of what I've reported. I got challenged by a couple people at the Heat today, friends of mine, okay, challenged me on some of them reporting on Tyler Hero. And I can tell you this, the organization was pissed at him, okay? They wanted him to put in that kind of work. I was never told last year he doesn't want to play basketball, right? Or he doesn't want to work on basketball. They wanted him to get in the weight room, and they didn't feel that he was committing to that. And that is where the quote unquote questions about focus came in. He clearly did it. So credit to them, credit to him. He looks like he put on weight. I can tell you that Duncan Robinson does too as well a little bit. I think with Duncan, it's more confidence now. He knows he just got the contract. Right. He knows he's a legitimate player in this league, and he talked about wanting to close games today, which I think was a good ambition because I think, we know he's going to start. Do they trust him to close?
Well, they're paying him, I guess,
$18 million. Right? And if you look at it, Alejandro, if you look at what they're going to close with, because Tucker, Bam, and Jimmy are going to close. Okay, and so is Kyle. The 5th guy, until Oladipo is back, is really Robinson or Hero. It's who has it going that night. And so they're good friends, and it's not a nasty competition, but I think there is a competition. We know that Spo will play Tyler down the stretch of games. He used to not take him off the floor for the entire 4th quarter. I think with Duncan, you'd rather have Duncan out there because he gives you a little bit more spacing and a little more size, okay, in terms of height, but he's not really been playable at the end of games because of fouls, defense, etc. I think that is he talked about it. It is a goal of his. But the final thing to me was Oladipo. We joke about it at the beginning, but he is, he was bouncing the basketball today. Wasn't really doing much. He says he hasn't been able to do a whole lot. I don't really know there you go. That was looking straight at me. I don't really know what is true and what is not about his situation. There is always a lot of noise around Vic from people around Vic. There tend to be storylines that don't always tend to play out. I'm not questioning him. I'm just saying there's stuff out there. He did not, to his credit today, he didn't really promise anything. He simply talked about, and I asked him about the struggle. I mean, what is it like? You're a star in this league, an all-star, and your career is basically taken from you, and now you're a minimum contract player.
Right.
And he talked about how mentally difficult it has been. But he said, Pat said, and this is the famous Pat quote, and I feel like we need to put this one on a T-shirt. Keep the main thing, which he used to say to LeBron. It was about winning a title. He said it to Dwayne. He said to Zoe. That's what he used to say to Jabbar and Magic. But with Vic, it was get healthy. Keep the main thing, the main thing, and that's what he told Vic. Vic was very upbeat. But here's the thing, and this is the way to close this, and we appreciate everybody watching. Check out 5 on the Floor. Alex and I got more into this. And go to Prize Picks, use the code 5, FIVE, especially when NBA season starts, but do it for NFL. But what I'll say this is, Victor Oladipo, it kind of strikes you when you're there. Mm-hmm. This is a good team. It's a good team. I think it's going to be a good team. Victor Oladipo's health can make it a great team. That is the X factor. I think we're going to see progress from Bam. I think we're going to see progress from Hero. Jimmy's going to be Jimmy unless he gets hurt. Kyle Lowry, he says he can play a lot longer. I think he's going to be the same at 35 that he was at 30. I don't have an issue with that. Victor Oladipo elevates this ceiling, so to speak. If he can get to 80%, this team goes from a second-tier team out of, say, 5 tiers in the NBA, like right below kind of that Nets, Lakers, Bucks, maybe Nuggets, maybe Jazz area. Mm-hmm. And then where the Heat kind of, I don't know, with Philly right now. Maybe. Yeah, and maybe it elevates you into that. I think he could be the difference. If you're bringing Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo off your bench, you're pretty good. And so it was very positive, it was optimistic. It is always like the first day of school. So you're always going to feel like you like all your new classmates. Everybody's happy. But it does feel like they are happy to be back. They're refreshed. And I think they just want to take last season and honestly just flush the whole thing. I don't think there was anything memorable that came out of last year other than UD's 3 minutes. It's just one of those years that is just, it's going to disappear into the vortex. And the Heat have had those kind of seasons. 2001, 2002 was one of those. 2006, 2007 was one of those. 2007, 2008 was memorable for other reasons because they only won 15 games. But this last year was one of those years you're going to be like, what happened that year? Okay, whatever. Well, that was the year after they got to the finals. That's it. They want this to be the fresh start.
Yeah, this is a normal season, if you will.
Yes.
So, Ethan, before we go, what's there for the guys in the podcast? What you guys did? You just recorded, right?
Yeah, we recorded. It's already up. You can get all the podcast feeds. Alex was there with me, so we did it live. Greg's going to host an episode tomorrow with Brady and Alex. Give me a night off. But we're going to basically continue to pump out content. I mean, we're back. So, I mean, this is, September was a struggle. We were good through August because they extended free agency. I will tell you, getting episodes out in September was a struggle. But we'll be going 3-4 times a week. If you want to sponsor, reach out to us. And obviously, all of the 5 on the Floor episodes end up on this YouTube channel as well. So check them out here.
That's right. I'm going to put it up here in a second. So, Ethan, thank you for those highlights. If you want to watch the entire interview from Spoelstra, Bam, Kyle Lowry, the Jimmy Butler video, all of that is here on the YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe, hit the little thing that lets you know every time we
put
the video and like the video. That's very important for us. And like Ethan said, if you want to sponsor, you're welcome to be part of the 5 Reasons Sports Network team as well. Ethan, see you soon.
Thanks, Alejandro.
Bye-bye.